welcome back. I'm Tasha, and I figured I would show you all one of our family's favorite Sunday suppers, especially when it is garden time and we've got all this fresh corn and potatoes coming in, and fresh peaches are readily available. We can get those in from like a flea market or a farm stand. So today I'm going to be making fried chicken, biscuits and gravy, creamed potatoes, and corn on the cob, and peach cobbler with vanilla ice cream. So I'm starting out with to make my fried chicken. I just cracked 3 eggs in a bowl, and I'm just rolling my chicken around in it. It's 4 large chicken breasts. I do cut them up because I want to get them done fairly quickly. So I make them into like 8 pieces instead of 4. Then I'm going to add my flour. I just use Hudson cream flour, and I add about 2 cups of flour. Now, because I'm making this fried chicken with gravy, I don't spice it up too much. I just added some chili powder. I do have some fried chicken recipes I use that are pretty spicy, but they are so good. But like I said, I'm keeping it plain today, simple, because of having it with gravy and biscuits. But I just go ahead and I'll salt the chicken and pepper it when it's in the egg batter, and then I'll do it again when it's in the flour because it's kind of bland and you need to make sure you salt and pepper it pretty good. So to go along with the fried chicken, I'm going to be making some homemade biscuits, and I always use the same recipe. It's like 3 cups of Hudson cream self-rising flour, a 1/2 cup of vegetable shortening, and I just cut that shortening into the flour. I add about 3/4 a cup of milk to that mixture. Make sure it's good and moist. And then I'll just roll it out in some extra flour, cut the biscuits out, and bake it at 420 for about 15 minutes, or until it's becoming golden brown on the top. And then I'll just brush it with some melted butter. Very simple biscuit recipe, but it always turns out great. So back to the fried chicken. I always use, when I'm frying chicken, I always use my cast iron skillet. And I will get the oil hot. I'll test it to make sure how hot it is. And then I'll go ahead and add my chicken in. And what I do is I just let the chicken get brown on each side. Make sure there's a good crisp on each side. And then I'll transfer it on a baking rack into the oven. And it's a 420 oven. And I'll let it bake until it comes to temperature. I'll check it. So it usually ends up being about 25 minutes to 30 minutes. I'll check it and make sure it's at the right temperature. And when you do that, you let your chicken finish in the oven. You just get the best, juiciest chicken. And it's also good to do when you're like feeding a crowd and you're needing to get, a lot of chicken done at a time. You can just like brown it off, have a couple baking sheets in the oven, and start transferring it once you get it browned into the oven. And just make sure you're checking the temperatures, that way you don't end up with dry chicken. But that's been the best way. When my kids were little, my job, I would get Wednesdays off through the week, and when they were going to school, I would pick them up from school and I would have their fried chicken ready, and they loved it like that. I would just finish it off in the oven, and I'd have them a big meal fixed when they get home from school. I love how food can bring back so many memories. But along with the fried chicken, I make stewed potatoes because our garden has an abundance of potatoes right now. And I was showing you how big they are. They've got so big this year. I just cut them up in chunks, and I barely cover the potatoes with water. And then I add maybe about a half a cup of milk, add salt and pepper, and I just let that simmer until the potatoes start to kind of fall apart. And then I'll add just a little bit more milk and butter. So here I'm putting a big old chunk of fresh butter on it. And then once they start to kind of fall apart, I'll start stirring them and kind of almost whipping them, but they'll still have a little bit of chunks in them. My kids love potatoes like that. My kids are grown now, but that's one of their favorite ways to eat the fresh potatoes out of the garden. So also with that, so we had fried chicken, biscuits, stewed potatoes, and then once I get the chicken transferred over into the oven, I start to make the gravy. And it's just so simple. I just use the drippings from the chicken, and I add like a half a cup of flour. Just let that flour mix in so you don't get like the raw flour flavor. Then you'll start adding your milk. I probably add about 2 cups of milk, and I just salt and pepper it really well. Whisk it with the whisk until it gets nice and creamy. So you've got your gravy. You can either put it over your chicken, or you can, we usually eat it over our biscuits. So, and then can't forget about the corn on the cob. I don't think I even showed you. It's easy. I just boil it. But our corn is coming in great right now. And so we definitely had to have some corn on the cob on the side. And then for dessert, we had got some fresh peaches. And my husband loves peach cobbler. So I just do the simple peach cobbler recipe, the 1 stick of butter, which I use fresh butter, so you'll see me putting that in. I'll pop that in the oven, and then I'll mix up, I usually make a bigger peach cobbler, so it's 2 cups of flour, self-rising flour, 2 cups of milk, 2 cups of sugar, and then I add about 2 tablespoons of cinnamon. And I'm cutting up about 3, they're fairly large peaches. So once the butter is melted, I will add in my bread mixture, and then I'll add in my peaches on top of that. I'll bake it for about, I think I had the oven that day on 375, and it took about 20 minutes for it to get done. And of course, you got to finish it off with a nice scoop of vanilla ice cream. But I hope you guys enjoyed watching me put together my Sunday supper. I want to thank you guys so much for watching. And if you have any questions about anything I made this day, you can just leave me a comment. But I hope y'all have a blessed day, and thank you so much for watching.